Welcome to the WordPress Photography Podcast, the podcast for photographers who want to learn how to get the most out of WordPress to grow their photography business. You don't need to be a geek to understand WordPress. Settle back and listen as we show you how. Now, here's your host, Scott Wyden-Kivowitz.
Welcome to episode 61. My name is Scott Wyden-Kivowitz, and today I just want to share with you some very important news because on this podcast and pretty much every time I teach somebody about WordPress, I'm always recommending Yoast SEO, and I will continue to do so because it really is the best SEO plugin for WordPress. From understanding software development, I know that there are times where there are bugs in software, and unfortunately, sometimes it's an important part of your website that experiences the bug. And in this case, it was Yoast SEO. Now, Yoast SEO was updated to version 7.0 not long ago. And they've undergone a bunch of different, small version updates since then. And on May 30th, they released version 7.5.3. And this update actually fixes a bug that they found that actually is a pretty severe bug, especially as a plugin that handles how your site is found on search engines like Google and Bing. And this bug actually makes it so a lot of your pages would, not necessarily pages, attachment pages, which I'll explain what those are in a second. Attachment pages would actually be indexed, no matter if you set it to yes or no. And the downside of this is by having them indexed, it would actually lower the rank of pages that you, and URLs, posts and pages that you wanted to rank would be lowered because the attachment URL would be indexed as well. So they fixed the bug, and they actually released another plugin that's a patch if you're experiencing the bug. Not everybody is. I checked about 10 sites, and 3 out of the 10 had the bug. So my guess is 3 out of 10 sites, will have this bug. Now, the plugin is used on over 2 million sites or something like that. So you can imagine how many websites are going to be experiencing this. Now, I want to show you, if you're listening to the podcast episode, just be aware. I'll tell you the names of everything. Be aware of the plugin, of listening to what I'm telling you of how to check. But if you want to watch it, go to the show notes, imagely.com/podcast/61. You can find the show notes. At the show notes, you can find the video of this episode, and you can actually see what I'm talking about. So first thing I'm going to link to in the show notes is the article talking about this bug. Now, this is for attachment URLs. Now, what attachment URLs are basically, if you're inside of a poster page and you upload an image and add that image to your poster page, that image has a URL, technically has a URL that's called an attachment URL. And it's basically what some gallery plugins use to give you the ability to rank those URLs. But it's not ideal because that means you have all these different URLs for literally every image on your website that you now need to create, tons of content for per image in order to get that to rank well. Where the better method is just let your post rank well and have the images there and optimize the images. That's what we talk about how image SEO is not necessarily about the images. So the better method, and this is what Yoast also recommends, and they in version 7.0 they do this on default, even though there was the bug, is they redirect the attachment URLs to the post or page URL in order to make the attachment URLs null, right? So they won't be indexed. But unfortunately, there was a bug, and they were indexed for some people. So when it was set to yes, it was actually set to no for some people, and even though it showed yes, it was still no. So it was kind of a tricky bug. So what they recommend doing is to upgrade to version 7.5.3 to fix the bug. And then if you go to the media section, first go to SEO and then the search appearance menu item under the Yoast SEO menu. And then under search appearance, you've got all these tabs: general, content types, media, taxonomy, and so on. Click on the media tab. Now, if it's set to no, You want to change it to yes. This is very important unless you are using a plugin that specifically utilizes the media attachment URLs and you are specifically trying to optimize every single one of those URLs. If you are, then you want to make sure it's on no. But if you are not, and you're just trying to do what is recommended, what the best practices, then I suggest turning it to yes. Now, if you had it to yes before and you upgrade and now it's set to no, or if you upgrade and it was already no and you want to go to yes, make sure you go to yes, right? Make sure it is yes. If you had the bug, if you have the bug or had the bug and you were set to yes, then it would show no once you upgrade to version 7.5.3. This is how you will know if you had the bug, because before it would have been yes, and then after upgrading, it would have said no. That's how you know you have the bug. That's very important. Now, if you have the bug, you need to install a plugin. Now, or if you're just switching it to yes after it was already no, you need to install the plugin called Yoast SEO Search Index Purge. Okay, now all this will do, right now 5,000 people have installed it, and basically you need to install this and leave it active for 6 months. What I will recommend doing is after 6 months, set a reminder for yourself, either on your calendar or in a reminders app. 6 months, disable that plugin, right? Just set yourself a reminder. But what this will do is it will create a HTTP 410 status. It will create a status that says this URL does not exist. It is redirected to the post or page URL that you want. It'll create a sitemap that will have all this so that Google will see it and de-index those attachment pages. So that'll help your rankings by removing the URLs that are competing with itself, duplicate content, and so on, right? So you want to install that if you have the bug, and only if you have the bug, really. So you're going to install it, and I'm going to install right here. If you're listening, you basically just know that I just activated that plugin. And then I go back to the search appearance menu item and go to the media tab. And basically it says these settings are being overridden by the search index purge plugin, right? So I set it to yes, and then I activated this patch plugin, went back to it, and it is taken over the media section. And that's it. Now, in 6 months from now, I can disable the plugin and delete it, and problem is solved. My guess is that Yoast SEO will leave this plugin active for a few years because some people just won't notice the bug, unfortunately. So that's it. This is just a very important thing. That's why I made an entire episode of the podcast dedicated to it. I don't want your sites ranking poorly because of a bug in one plugin. So, just pay attention, do what's needed. If you need assistance, go to the Yoast SEO forum and create a ticket. Maybe they'll help you. That would be really good since it was a major bug in their part. And that's about it. If you have any questions, also feel free to comment in the post on the show notes, and I will do my best to answer those for you. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode.
You've been listening to the WordPress Photography Podcast. To listen to other episodes and to subscribe to the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and more, please visit imagely.com/podcast.